It is Sunday, July 30th. Happy Sunday to you. I know. I haven't been here for a while. Haven't vlogged for a little bit. I'm very sorry about that. It has been a very hectic last several weeks. Things have just gotten a little bit nutty. Also, my travel has picked up. The last 3 weeks I've been in Houston, which I think I vlogged last time from Houston. Was in Atlanta last week, just outside of Atlanta at my office last week. And this week, it is Sunday, I will be here all week in Boston, actually just outside of Boston in a town called Westford. Westford is not known to most of you all, but I will tell you a little secret about what happens here every year. Starting about it's been 21, 22 years ago, a gentleman named Joe Stebrick started an annual summer event called the Westford Symposium on Building Science, which is held here in Westford, Massachusetts. We're about an hour northwest of Boston, kind of in the outskirts. It's not even a suburb at this point. We're too far out to be a suburb. And for the past 20 some odd years, people have flocked to this invitation-only seminar to learn about buildings. And when I talk about buildings, I'm not talking about necessarily architectural design. I'm talking more about how buildings work, how they operate, what happens when things go wrong in buildings, how to optimize a building, HVAC or mechanical systems and their effect, moisture and the effects of moisture on buildings, wind loads, heat loads, seismic loads, all these enormous topics. And for the past, I think this is my 14th or 15th year to attend, give or take, I don't even really know, 13th, 14th, 15th year to attend. And over those past several years, this event has grown and grown. When I first started coming, it was around 2002, 2003 timeframe. And the attendance was in the 200s, 250 people, very manageable. We all stayed at another hotel called the Westford Regency Hotel and pretty much filled the hotel up, which is also where this symposium takes place, these talks for the next 3 days. Over the past several years, this invitation-only event has grown and grown and grown. I don't know the official count from last year or the impending count for this year, but it's pretty close to 500 or so people. Now, these aren't your average ordinary people who get invited to this deal. Those of us who've been invited had a vital role in building science or work for a company that had a vested interest in building science. And the deal is, once you get on the list, provided you don't make an idiot of yourself or do something disastrous, you get invited back. And I've been fortunate enough to be invited every single year. I think there's only been 2 years I wasn't able to attend since I first started coming to this back in the early 2000s. That being said, you could call this Nerd Week or Geek Week. There's a lot of different names for this event, but Geek Week is kind of one of the big ones we talk about. One of the names we name it here at Summer Camp. And we also call it Summer Camp. That's a euphemistic term for this event is Summer Camp. You can follow us on hashtag BS Camp, as in Building Science Camp, on Twitter and other social media outlets. I'm not a real big Twitter fanatic, but during this week, this is where 95% of my tweets per year come out of this event for the next 4 days or so. So be checking Twitter, hashtag BS Camp. I'll put it right there for you to follow. Anyway, stage has been set. Obviously, there's many people that come to this event who are competitors of mine or competitors of ours, former colleagues, former co-workers, people who are very, very interesting, very intelligent people. And speaking of competitors, last year, a friend of mine, he calls himself my mentor, but we'll let him think that he is. But his name is Jason, lives in North Carolina, works for a competitive spray foam company. I would call them a friendly competitor. Their name is NCFI, and they make fantastic products. They're a great group of guys. I know Jason and Steve Loftus and a bunch of the guys that work at their organization, and I really have a lot of respect for all of them. And just a good group of people. I mean, our products are way superior, but yeah, they're good people, and they mean well, and they're a little lost, but anyway, So last year, we're at the event. I hung out with Jason quite a bit. And at this kind of, me take a step back and say, this event, this is not a sales pitch place. You don't come here and sit in the backyard when people are out having dinner and drinks and whatnot and start pitching stuff and start really hard pressing people. We really don't talk shop that much. We talk between different groups to kind of find synergies to work together outside of this event. I might make contacts here from the HVAC world or from the waterproofing world that I might need down the road to help us maybe do some joint testing or whatever. You never know. Anyway, so when I'm here, and I was talking with Jason last year, we're not talking shop. We're talking pretty much anything but shop. Okay, so ground has been said. Anyway, last year I came with one of my bosses, and due to a situation he had back in Dallas, he had to leave a couple days early, and he took our rental car back to Boston. No problem. Getting to and from the event, to and from everything around here is all done by shuttles, and their shuttles run consistently up until like midnight or 1 a.m. So there's really no reason why you couldn't take a shuttle to someplace. That being said, I then found myself looking for a ride to the airport. And again, we're about an hour out of Boston, so it's not really cabable and it's not walkable, and there's no mass transit out here that can get you to Boston Logan in any reasonable amount of time. And on the last night, which was Wednesday night, which is typically most people have gone by Wednesday or Wednesday night. I like to stick around Wednesday night because typically that's Italian night where the chefs make some really outstanding Italian food, pasta fagioli and veal spatini and all these different wonderful meals. And I ended up talking with Jason. I'm like, hey, dude, when are you leaving? He's like, well, my flight's tomorrow, being Thursday, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, oh, my flight's at 1:30 or something. Can I get a ride to the airport? Yeah, sure. Where are you staying? I said, well, I'm staying at the Hampton Inn. And he's like, okay, well, I'm at the Marriott or whatever. I'll swing by the Hampton Inn tomorrow morning at 9 or something, because, Boston traffic. Swing around by 9 o'clock or so, pick you up, head to the airport. Bob's your uncle. Have a nice day. I'm like, cool. I'll even buy your gas. I'm just so grateful to get a ride. So we continue hanging out and do our own thing and kind of separate and say hi. The next morning, like clockwork, because Jason is a PE, so they can't ever be late. Jason shows up at the crack of 9 o'clock, ready to go to the airport. So he load my stuff into the car, and we hop onto the freeway to go to the airport. And we're driving and having a little chat, and it's kind of quiet. It's been a long week. Your brain is mushed. You're just tired, really ready to go. It's a great event, but you're really ready to go most of the time to get back home. And we're heading to the airport. And all of a sudden, Jason takes a turn towards New Hampshire. And there's like a cloverleaf exit. One exit goes to Boston, one exit goes south to Boston, one exit goes north to New Hampshire. And I kind of looked over at Jason as he was driving. I was like, did you just miss your turn? He's like, oh no, we're good. I'm like, okay, well, maybe he knows a different route. And we go for about a mile or so, and there's no traffic to speak of. I look over at Jason and I said, where are we going? He goes, we're going to the airport. And I said, which airport? He says, Manchester. Why? I said, well, because I'm flying out of Boston Airport. Neither one of us said a word. We kind of look at each other a little bit because he's driving and I'm just in this state of bewilderment, automatically assuming that everybody flew out of Boston. Now, yes, 2 or 3 times for this event, I've had to fly to Manchester because the Boston tickets were just outrageously expensive. But so we pull over to this shopping center. I pull up the Uber app, grab an Uber, and I was like, just hang out with me, make sure I get an Uber guy. It's not going to look like he's going to kill me. And then you can go on to Manchester, and I'll go on down to Boston. Because there's no way he could have taken me down to Boston and then turned around and made his flight up in Manchester. But it was just not enough time to do all that stuff. So we were just looking at each other with this incredulous look that through all of this, and I'll even quote Jason in the text he sent me, 2 reasonably smart guys coming off of a very brainy geek week didn't bother to find out which airport we're flying out of. So, anyway, it may be funny to you. It was a lot funnier in the car. Very thankful that I was able to hop on Uber, grab a ride down to Boston, and made my flight fine. I was texting with Jason, making sure he made his flight. It was all great and fine and good. Well, just the other day, I found out that Jason, unfortunately, is not coming to summer camp, which is a bit of a bummer because, again, he's pretty fun to hang out with. But I was talking with one of our people we do some work with in last week in Atlanta, and we were talking about funny airport stories or airplane stories, and I recounted the story to Jason, like I just told this guy I was having lunch with about our story from Boston. It was just hysterical. And again, I'll read Jason's reply was, two arguably intelligent, geeky guys just coming off a very geeky seminar still can be pretty effing stupid. Yes, there you have it. I'll be up here for the next several days. Try to vlog from here. These are very, very heavy, heady days, so I'll do my very best to check in and say hi. But no promises. Anyway, that is all for now. I will actually just got finished unpacking and I'm going to head over to Joe's house in his backyard with 400 and something other people for dinner. So with that said, I will talk to you soon. Thanks as always for stopping by. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.